How about the bench? Your bench seems like it's going well. A PR coming.
Yeah, PR video. Oh, yeah, hopefully coming.
Yeah,
and
so
hopefully a new PR. Hopefully.
Besides that kind of programming tidbit you threw in, is there accessory you've been throwing in extra?
Well, for me, what I would say the thing I've been learning recently is really just tailoring it to the grip width.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what I've been coming to understanding is that for 5 reps, what I like to do is really get specific, since I don't use RPE that much.
Yeah.
Really at all.
Yeah, I don't really
as far
either.
as formally. Yeah, so I really keep track of the rep kind of ratios. So for 85%, I know I might only be able to do 5 for 85%. So given that, playing off of that definitely has helped a ton, because before I would go, my standard is like 87.5% for 5. That's usually the conversion I use.
Yeah.
And I've had to decide, okay, with this wide grip, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
and per lift, per person, it's all gonna be a little different.
Yeah. So really taking that into account, and then the next thing is doing accessory work just based on the exact style. So it's like I don't do that much tricep work.
Yeah.
Doing a lot more chest.
That's
a
just
lot more
because you have a wider grip.
In a stretch position.
Yeah, super smart. You also, what I just lose my train of thought.
Yeah, I'd say
RPE. So with your loading then, basically just loading weekly or progressing loading, it's just kind of linear. Yeah, that's what I talk about all the time. People are like, oh, Mike, beginner, or you only do a bit as a beginner, but we're saving some of the tank.
Right.
So he can do, or any of us can do, 3 sets of 5 at 75%, and then add 2.5% or 10 pounds or 15 pounds weekly and still progress.
Right, and I think a lot of times the thing too is that you can add it weekly, but you can still have you can repeat the exact same workout. Like sometimes I think people naturally kind of avoid that. It's like there's nothing wrong with doing 5 days a week. Something I like to do is going 5 days a week on bench, maybe starting the week out with a single at like, maybe even starting just at 82.5%, 85, maybe even 80. But then doing like 3x3 with 75% for 4 days a week. 4 days a week. And then what I really like to do on bench is to go like 5 straight days, 2 days of rest, then go into next. So it's like, so you just beat it, and then you get.
It can get really fucking complicated if you have a bad plateau, but then you're hitting the one single.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. That's why you can't push it too much.
Right, but then you're going 3x5 at 75%, for example, and then one day 77%, and then next week is 2 days 77%, and next day is 3 days, and then eventually you're doing 3x5 at 77%, and you can progress like that almost forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think a lot of times we establish a kind of, we're so focused on the max, but a lot of times it's establishing that minimum
for sure.
Where you go, okay, no matter what, and then even if you transition it to 2 times a week later on, that then you know, okay, no matter what, if you're able to do 77.5% for maybe 3 to 4 days in a week, that then you know you're going to be able to start going 2 to 3 times a week at 80%.
Maybe even a 5x5. Yeah, because the whole base is there.
Right.
And what about the deadlift, man? I know a big deadlift PR is coming. I feel it for you.
Hopefully.
So what's you already mentioned the program a little bit. Any variations you're throwing in there?
Well, what I would say actually, well, actually, one of the things that I've been learning a lot, and I've actually noticed this with some other people, is sometimes it's a matter of not doing a variation with if it gets too good. Because something I've noticed is that I think Mike T, I definitely give credit for being the first one to really mention this, but then I think I kind of helped it get popular too, was doing the pause deadlift. Because I remember when I made that video, it wasn't like that popular, but Mike T definitely talked about it. But with conventional, it's almost a clear disadvantage no matter what. Usually on conventional, you can't do more than like 85% for a triple.
Too much in your low back, you're just getting hard.
Very hard. But I think that's why a lot of times it's more useful. So actually it's helped me a lot, especially now I'm recovering, is I did double pause with 545 for
conventional?
No, for sumo.
So
I'm saying like I could
probably almost too easy.
Yeah, I'm saying I could probably pause deadlift right now like 620, maybe even 635, like really up there. But it's like if my regular is like 645, it's just not really useful.
I think the time it fits in a sumo then is someone's bar path's way off or technique's way off, then they can. But if you're already efficient in the lift, maybe not the best. Same opposite is a block pull. Like a block pull sumo, I could probably get 800 pounds off the ground.
Yeah, well, see, I'm actually the exact opposite. See, that's what's funny. I've actually been doing block pull. Yeah, because the thing is, see, the way I do it, and it's exactly what you're saying with technique, is when I sumo deadlift, I'm definitely one of the few people who has a positive shin angle. Which typically I don't coach, but there's always freaks it's definitely
out there.
like it's definitely not the most normal thing, but I've always been like that.
But and if you can keep the bar close, then maybe it's not a big deal.
Right, and the thing is, so for me, since I have somewhat of a positive shin angle, doing block pulls actually makes me weaker because then you got to force it to be more vertical, and it's still a low block. So for me, what's funny is doing 500 for 10, and then my goal for next week is 500 for like 13.
Sick.
That is actually harder of a lift.
Coming to the Candido HQ YouTube channel.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Look for 500 for 12.
Yeah. Well, but now I put it for 13, so I'm gonna.
All right,
for
14.
But yeah, the thing with me though is like what I would say is to track the definitely outside of technique, because sometimes I think technique's a little too subjective for people who aren't really used to seeing it.
Or have a coach on them every day.
Yeah. Outside of like recording yourself a lot, I think a lot of times seeing the percentage relationship really helps.
Yeah.
So it's like if you see, what I like to look at is if you can pause deadlift, especially 92.5%, it's time to drop it.
Yeah.
Like it's time to drop it. It's too much of a fun pet lift. It's not gonna. It's not gonna help you.
Something that made me think about that a lot more is Pete Rubish's deadlifts, and he has an exact number for his strap deadlift with bumpers compared to a strap deadlift with in a meet. And so like you do need to get these correlations between whether it's a positive kind of overload or a negative underload. You have to understand what this exercise is in correlation to maybe what you can do on the platform, and it's going to change because everything's kind of in waves.
Yeah, and I think what's ironic too is a lot of times we make fun of people who do super maximal lifting. But then a lot of times you kind of can get your ego in submaximal, where it's like you can be the guy who wants to pause squat. Some guys pause squat 550, 600.
I'm like that.
Where sometimes it gets so tempting to do a pause because you always get credit for that. I could pause squat 405 tomorrow, and if I do a 5-second pause, I'll get comments like, "Man, that's such good control. My God, it's my max or something." But it's like it could translate to like a 455 regular squat and not actually be that impressive.
Right.
So I would say with sumo, definitely focusing on your weakness is a huge one. And then what I'd say as far as two more is, one, I really like to start cycles as far as the competition cycle. I like to start it off with the 10 rep max for when I'm going to actually go for like a real max PR. So that's the way I do it. Is last time my 10 rep max was 545. I accidentally did 11. So it's like I'm going to wait until I hit 565, 570 before then ramping up. Because I think a lot of times people kind of start deadlift, they kind of treat it like a squat where they start it off and then they just kind of hope it progresses. Whereas I like to make sure that you got something big in you. Because or else you've experienced this where it's not really worth peaking. Is it really worth deadlifting 655 if you know that's going to be about all you're going to do? Because deadlift takes more of a beating on you.
100%. So
what I do is that, and then probably the next notable thing programming wise, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is I don't actually change the volume for before I'm going to max. So what I do is like I just
like
cycle.
A fatigue max.
Or no, what I'm saying is I don't even really spend that much time being fatigued.
Oh, gotcha.
So a lot of times, like what I do, I'll do,
you can get more from less.
Yeah, what I'll do is like what I've done before. I hit 655 beltless one time at 169. I kid you not. Here's my cycles: 3x5 with 405, 4x2 pause with 495, one triple with 545. Next week started off 500 for 3x5. 585 for 4x2, pause without a belt. So it went from 495 to 585 on the same 4x2 day. So instead, I kind of build up momentum-wise for 3 weeks. So it's just building, and then go. Where the volume is never so significant that you actually overreach. Because personally, I think overreaching with the deadlift is a little risky.
Well, it's dangerous, and you already, perhaps you can fatigue yourself with the squat.
Right.
So if you take that fatigue away for the peak, your deadlift may go up too, because your low back, and depending on how you live, but your low back and your quads will be recovered, and then your deadlift may be able to peak. And really
I think the squat you can't really build the same momentum. You can't go 405 to 495 the next week. It's not going to happen because you're going to misgroove it so much.
I'm the same way on the deadlift. I just got back into my sumo. I've been conventional deadlifting, and I was like, all right, I'll do 455 for 3x5, and then the next week I think I did like 585 for 3x3, and then like 3 days later I did 585, and then 3 days later, and probably tomorrow I'll try to do like 600, 615 for a 3x3, and it is a lot easier. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Candito dropping fucking bombs. He'll be back hopefully soon. Check the YouTube if you're not there. Go turn on his notifications. YouTube's changed a little bit. You got to turn on these notifications, otherwise people don't see the videos sometimes. It's fucking weird algorithm. So go to his channel, turn on the notifications. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe here if you're not here. If you're checking out Johnny for the first time, and he's going to be competing hopefully a couple times this year healthy. I'm excited to watch it, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely deadlifting healthy for sure.
Yeah, fuck yeah, maybe deadlift only.
Now I definitely do full meet, but just the squat might be a little bit of a warm up.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? He's on the platform again, guys. We're out of here. Texas living.
Peace.